Have you ever watched One Piece and felt like it was not just a story? The world government, the five elders, the celestial dragons, a tiny group at the top sitting above kings, nations, laws, and ordinary people. Now think about Attack on Titan, the walls. People born inside a system they did not build, a hidden history they were never allowed to know, enemies they were trained to fear before they even understood the world. Now think about Naruto, the cycle of hatred. One generation fights a war, the next generation inherits the pain, then that pain becomes revenge. And the same cycle repeats again and again. Now listen carefully. What if these stories are not just entertainment? What if anime is showing us the emotional truth of the real world? Because we also live inside systems we did not design, borders we did not draw, schools we did not create, justice systems we did not build, financial institutions we did not approve, media algorithms we do not control, AI systems we do not own, and yet we live with the consequences every single day. My name is Muhammad. I am 25 years old. I am a certified Islamic scholar. I am the Deputy Imam of Masjid-e-Nabawi Qureshi Hashmi in Islamabad. I am an AI researcher. I love calisthenics. I built my own open source Jarvis. And I am working on a global AI decentralized governance system powered by AI and blockchain. But this video is not just about me. This video is about the system that controls your life, where it came from, how it evolved, why it keeps failing ordinary people, and why I believe the next upgrade of civilization must be people owned, transparent, AI assisted, and built from the ground up. This is not a conspiracy video. This is not a hate video. This is not about blaming one country, one religion, one race, or one group. This is about a pattern in human history, a pattern where humans build systems for survival, and then a small group slowly turns those systems into tools of control. To understand the world today, we have to go back to the beginning, before modern states, before borders, before banks, before police departments, before passports, before algorithms, before AI. Human beings lived in small groups, tribes, families, communities. They hunted together, moved together, protected each other, shared resources. Power existed, but it was limited by proximity. If a leader became too oppressive, people could leave, challenge him, or reorganize. Then agriculture changed everything. When humans started farming, land became fixed, food could be stored, grain could be counted, surplus could be protected, and the moment surplus appeared, control appeared, because whoever controlled the grain controlled life. If you controlled food, you controlled labor. If you controlled labor, you controlled production. If you controlled production, you controlled society. This is where the first deeper form of system power begins. Property, storage, debt, tax, authority, administration. Suddenly life needed records. Who produced what? Who owed what? Who worked where? Who paid tax? Who received grain? And here's one of the most important facts in human history. Some of the earliest writing systems were not created for poetry or novels. They were used heavily for accounting, administration, trade, labor, and economic records. That means when humanity learned to write, one of the first things the system wrote down was not your dreams, it was your account, your debt, your tax, your labor, your obligation, and that pattern never disappeared. Clay tablets became paper files became government databases became digital identity systems became platform data became algorithmic profiles, and now AI can analyze those profiles at a scale no ancient empire could ever imagine. So the question is not should records exist, records are necessary. The real question is who controls the record? Because if the record is private, hidden, and controlled by a few, it can become a weapon. But if the record is transparent, public, verifiable, and tamper-resistant, it can become public memory. That is why blockchain matters. Not as hype, not just as crypto, not as trading, but as a new architecture for trust. Imagine a village ledger. Everyone can see who contributed money. Everyone can see where the money went. Everyone can see who approved the expense. Everyone can see whether the project was completed. Now make that ledger digital, secure, transparent, and very difficult to secretly change. That is blockchain for governance. Public money, public record, public decision, public audit. This is one of the foundations of the system I want to build. But before we reach the solution, we need to understand how the old system became so powerful. After records came law. Law organized society. Law made rules clear. Law created punishments. Law gave structure. But law has always had a dangerous possibility inside it. Law can create justice, or law can legalize hierarchy. In many ancient societies, punishment was not equal for everyone. The noble had one value, the commoner had another, the slave had another. That means law did not always create equality. Sometimes law simply made inequality official. And this question is still alive today. If a rich person can afford the best lawyers, and a poor person waits years in prison before trial, is justice really equal? If one country can break international law and face no consequences, while another country is punished immediately, is law really universal? If one class can bend the rules, while another class is crushed by them, is that justice? This is why Death Note is such a powerful metaphor. Light had power, but did he have the right? He could decide who was guilty, but who gave him that authority? The real question is not only who has power, the real question is who has legitimate authority, who can be questioned, who can be audited, who can be stopped. This is why any future justice system must be transparent, explainable, accountable, and accessible to ordinary people. AI can help here. But AI must not become the judge. AI must become the assistant. Imagine a poor citizen receiving a court notice. Instead of being lost, scared, and dependent on expensive intermediaries, their public AI assistant explains the document in simple language. It explains their rights. It explains the timeline. It explains the possible next steps. It connects them to legal aid. It tracks delays. It helps expose procedural abuse. The decision remains human. The accountability remains public. But the knowledge gap shrinks. That is what I mean when I say AI should not be the ruler. AI should be the public assistant. Now let's move forward. As humans scaled, empires appeared. Rome, Persia, China, the Islamic empires, European empires. Empires are complicated. They can build roads, they can spread law, they can organize trade, they can create cities, they can preserve knowledge. But every empire has one disease inside it. The center begins to believe it is above everyone else. The center decides, the edges obey, the capital becomes the mind, the provinces become the body, and when power becomes too concentrated, the system stops serving people. It starts worshiping itself. This is what I mean when I say human beings keep turning power into God. The throne becomes sacred, the emperor becomes untouchable, the flag becomes unquestionable, the institution becomes above truth. In One Piece language, this is the celestial dragon problem. The rules apply to everyone except the people at the top. They do not just rule the system, they become the exception to the system. And every civilization must ask itself, who is above accountability? Because whoever is above accountability eventually becomes dangerous. Then came the colonial system. And this is where the modern world becomes painfully familiar. Colonialism was not just armies invading lands, it was a complete operating system, a colonial OS. It included trade, education, law, police, bureaucracy, tax, borders, language, maps, identity, resource extraction, and psychological control. The East India Company is one of the clearest examples in world history. A company became a ruler, not just a business. A company with armies, a company with tax power, a company with administrative control, a company that turned regions into profit machines. Think about that for a second. A private company did not just sell products, it governed people. And when governance runs on company logic, the human being becomes a cost. The land becomes an asset. The farmer becomes revenue. The school becomes a training center. The police become an enforcement unit. The court becomes a stabilizing mechanism for control, and the entire society becomes a spreadsheet. That is why colonialism did not only take wealth, it rewired institutions, it trained local elites, it created clerks, it created bureaucracy, it created police systems designed for control, not trust. It created education systems designed to produce obedient workers, not independent thinkers. It created borders that turned neighbors into enemies. And when the colonizers left, the flag changed. But the operating system often remained. The file culture remained. The permission culture remained. The hierarchy remained. The fear remained. The obsession with certificates remained. The distance between state and citizen remained. This is why many post-colonial countries feel independent on paper, but still trapped in old administrative logic. The body is free, but the software is colonial. Look at education. A child enters school with curiosity. They ask why. They explore. They imagine. They create. Then the system says, sit in rows. Wait for the bell. Memorize. Repeat. Do not question too much. Do not build too much. Do not challenge the textbook. Pass the exam. Get the certificate. Get the job. Become useful to the system. For the industrial age, this made sense. Factories needed disciplined workers. Colonial offices needed clerks. Bureaucracies needed obedient staff. But now we are in the AI age. Information is no longer scarce. AI can remember more than you. AI can summarize faster than you. AI can translate better than most humans. So if our education system is still built around memorization, it is preparing people for a world that is already dying. The future needs creativity, systems thinking, ethics, problem solving, collaboration, simulation, experimentation. That is why I believe education should become more like a real scientific game, not a useless game, a serious simulation. Imagine a world like GTA or PUBG in terms of engagement. But instead of just shooting, looting, and escaping, you solve water crises, you design cities, You test energy systems, you simulate climate responses, you learn biology by healing virtual ecosystems, you learn physics by building machines, you learn governance by managing a city budget, you learn disaster response by saving a digital town, and the simulation uses real scientific principles. AI mentors guide you, your solutions are scored, the best ideas can be studied, improved, and maybe applied in the real world. There are billions of gamers in the world. What if even a fraction of that attention was redirected toward real world problem solving? Gamers could become builders, players could become scientists, entertainment could become education. This is one pillar of our future platform. Now look at borders. Attack on Titan is one of the greatest metaphors for political reality. People born inside walls, taught that the wall is safety, taught that the enemy is outside, taught that history began with the story they were given. But the real truth was hidden. Many real-world borders work the same way. Not all borders are natural. Many were drawn by empires, with rulers, maps, treaties, strategic interests. Sometimes communities were split, sometimes rivals were forced together, sometimes resources were divided in ways that guaranteed future conflict. Pakistan and India, the Middle East, large parts of Africa. Many lines were shaped by colonial decisions, and after the colonizers left, the walls stayed, the hatred stayed, the military tension stayed, the political narrative stayed. The people on both sides were taught to inherit fear. This is where Naruto becomes real, the cycle of hatred. One war creates trauma, trauma creates revenge, revenge creates another war creates another orphan, and the cycle continues. The system benefits when people inherit hatred instead of questioning structure. Because if you hate the person across the border, you will not ask who drew the border, who profits from the conflict, who sells weapons to both sides, who gains power from permanent fear, who uses nationalism to hide corruption. This does not mean security is unnecessary. Security matters, defense matters, sovereignty matters, but the public deserves transparency. What is the real cost of war? Who gets the contracts? Who benefits from escalation? What would peace save? What would cooperation create? AI can model scenarios, blockchain can track public funds, public dashboards can show war cost, reconstruction cost, human cost, and opportunity cost. Peace should not be a slogan. Peace should be measurable. Now let's talk about the global system after World War II. The winners of the war built institutions that still shape the world today. The United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank, the Bretton Woods financial order. On paper, the purpose was peace, stability, reconstruction, and development. And to be fair, these institutions have also done real work. They are not cartoons, they are not simple villains. But their structure contains a problem. Power is not equally distributed. At the UN Security Council, 5 permanent members have veto power. One veto can block action. That means the world is told it has global governance. But some states have permanent privilege. In One Piece language, this is the 5 elders problem. A small group at the top can freeze the whole world's decision. Again, I'm not saying the metaphor is perfect. I am saying the emotional structure is similar: permanent power, limited accountability, global consequences. Then look at the financial system. The IMF lends money to countries in crisis, and IMF loans come with conditions. The official logic is stability. The official goal is repayment, reform, and macroeconomic balance. But from the perspective of ordinary citizens, those conditions can feel like invisible government. Cut spending, raise revenue, restructure state companies, control deficits, open markets, privatize. Sometimes reforms may be necessary, but the question is, who carries the pain, the elite or the poor? When a country borrows, the agreement is signed at the top. But inflation is felt at the bottom. Austerity is felt at the bottom. Job loss is felt at the bottom. Utility prices are felt at the bottom. Food prices are felt at the bottom. This is why public debt must be publicly understood. Every citizen should be able to open an AI assistant and ask, what does this loan mean for me? What conditions are attached? What will happen to schools? What will happen to hospitals? What will happen to taxes? What will happen to currency? What alternatives exist? Today, most people are spectators. They hear big words: balance of payments, fiscal deficit, structural reform, external financing, but they do not get clear power. A future public AI system should translate national finance into human language. A future blockchain system should track public spending in real time. Public money should not disappear into PDFs. Public money should live on public dashboards. Now look at media. For a long time, newspapers and television shaped reality. If something was not on TV, it almost did not exist for the public. Then social media arrived, and suddenly ordinary people had a voice. You could post, you could expose, you could trend, you could go viral. For a moment, it felt like freedom. But then the platforms became the new gatekeepers. Algorithms decide what spreads. Algorithms decide what dies. Entertainment travels fast. Anger travels fast. Short outrage travels fast. But deep system building content struggles. The platforms profit from attention, not transformation. They give you expression, but not execution. You can post about corruption, but can you veto the corrupt project? You can complain about a broken road, but can you see the budget? You can trend the hashtag, but can you track the contractor? You can expose the issue, but can you organize the solution inside the same platform? Usually no. That is why I keep saying, social media gave us voice. It did not give us power. The next internet should not only connect attention, it should connect action. A post should become a proposal should become discussion should become voting should become funding should become live tracking should become accountability should become trust. This is the bridge from social media to social action. Now big tech enters the picture. Google shapes what knowledge people find, YouTube shapes what ideas grow, Meta shapes what people see, TikTok shapes attention culture. These platforms do not call themselves governments, but they influence billions of minds. The problem is not that platforms exist. The problem is opacity. If a platform affects public life, its recommendation logic should be open to scrutiny. If an algorithm can bury or amplify ideas, the public should understand how. If AI models shape education, hiring, policing, and public opinion, people deserve transparency, and now AI makes this urgent. The real danger of AI is not only robots, the real danger is AI in the wrong hands. AI can write, summarize, persuade, classify, predict, monitor, decide risk, score people, recommend content, generate propaganda, automate bureaucracy. Powerful AI controlled by a few corporations and states can become the strongest centralization tool in human history. Whoever controls the model may influence what people see, what they believe, what they fear, what they buy, what job they get, what loan they receive, what risk category they fall into. This is the final fork. AI can become a private weapon, or AI can become a public assistant. This is where my personal journey connects. I built my own Jarvis, not the movie version, my own version, on my own PC. It listens, it speaks, it understands commands, it can interact with my system, it can help manage tasks, it can monitor information, it can connect tools, it can help me automate parts of my digital life. And the important point is not just the tool, the point is the proof. One person with AI can now multiply their ability. A single builder can do things that once required a whole team. A student can have a tutor, a citizen can have a policy explainer, a worker can have an automation assistant, a creator can have a research team, a community can have a civic analyst. This is why I made Jarvis open source, because I do not want AI to be only something people consume. I want people to build with it, break it, improve it, make their own version. But Jarvis is only the first proof. Personal AI is step one. Public AI is the bigger mission. Imagine every citizen having a public AI assistant. A local issue appears. The AI explains the problem. It gathers evidence, it summarizes proposals, it compares costs, it shows risks, it explains who benefits, it explains who pays, it explains the long-term impact. Then the community discusses, then the community votes, then the funds are collected transparently, then blockchain records every transaction, then the project is tracked live, then citizens can audit the result, then the next community learns from that model. That is the system I am building toward. A global AI decentralized governance system, a people-owned platform where humans are not just users, they are participants, nodes, contributors, voters, builders, problem solvers. Every person has an impact profile, not just a social profile. Your skills, your services, your contributions, your reputation, your community work, your learning, your projects, all connected to real-world impact. Facebook gave people profiles, LinkedIn gave people resumes, Uber gave service matching, Upwork gave freelance marketplaces, blockchain gave tamper-resistant ledgers, AI gives intelligence. But nobody has truly combined all of this into a civic operating system owned by people. That is the missing layer. Imagine a water problem in your society. Today, people complain in a WhatsApp group. Someone sends a voice note. Someone blames the government. Someone blames the committee. Someone says nothing will happen. Then everyone forgets. In our model, the issue becomes a structured proposal. People upload evidence. AI summarizes the problem. AI suggests possible solutions. AI estimates cost and timelines. The community votes. Funds are collected transparently. Every rupee is visible. Every expense is logged. Every milestone is shown. If the project becomes corrupt, the community can challenge it. If the contractor delays, the dashboard shows it. If the budget changes, everyone sees it. This is not blind trust. This is visible trust. Trust me becomes show me. And this is where physical community centers matter. An app alone cannot rebuild society. People need places. Humans need face-to-face trust. For Muslims, the Masjid an-Nabawi model is deeply powerful. The Prophet's mosque was not only a prayer space, it was a center of learning, consultation, welfare, justice, brotherhood, training, community action. For other communities, the same idea can exist through churches, temples, schools, civic hubs, and community centers. The principle is universal. Digital platform plus physical community center equals real power, online coordination, offline trust, AI assistance, blockchain accountability, community decision-making. This is how we move from noise to action. And the path must start small. World system change does not begin with the whole world. It begins with one street, one society, one mosque, one school, one community center, one issue, one transparent vote, one live fund, one completed project, then another, then another. Facebook started at a campus, Uber started in one city, Bitcoin started as a white paper. Movements begin small, proof begins small. A working governance loop in one community can become the seed of something global. Raise issue, AI explains. Community votes, funds track, project completes, public audits, repeat. That is the loop. Now I know what some people will say. This is too big, you are too young, you are just one person, you are an imam, you are an AI researcher, you are a creator. How can you build an alternative to the global system? And my answer is simple. I am not saying I already have all the answers. I am saying I refuse to stay silent. I refuse to only scroll while the world burns. I refuse to complain forever and build nothing. I may fail. People may laugh. Funding may be hard. Team building may be hard. Technology may break. The first version may be ugly. The first community may be slow. But every real mission looks impossible before it becomes obvious. The internet once looked impossible. AI once looked like science fiction. Reusable rockets looked impossible. A global company from a small room looked impossible. Then someone started. This is why calisthenics matters to me. People think it is just fitness. It is not. Calisthenics teaches a philosophy. You start with your own body. No expensive machines. No excuses. Just gravity. You fail, you fall, you repeat, you build control. I refuse to stay silent. I refuse to only scroll while the world burns. I refuse to complain forever and build nothing. I may fail, people may laugh, funding may be hard, team building may be hard, technology may break, the first version may be ugly, the first community may be slow, but every real mission looks impossible before it becomes obvious. The internet once looked impossible. AI once looked like science fiction. Reusable rockets looked impossible. A global company from a small room looked impossible. Then someone started. This is why calisthenics matters to me. People think it is just fitness. It is not. Calisthenics teaches a philosophy. You start with your own body. No expensive machines, no excuses, just gravity. You fail, you fall, you repeat, you build control. And once you learn to control your own body, you start asking, what else have I been told I cannot control? My attention, my habits, my learning, my community, my systems. Self-control is the first revolution. Community control is the next. That is why this journey combines AI, blockchain, anime, faith, calisthenics, and governance. To some people, these look unrelated. To me, they are one story. Anime gives the emotional language, AI gives the intelligence layer, blockchain gives public memory, calisthenics gives discipline, community centers give physical trust, governance gives direction, and people give power. This is our real-life One Piece journey. But understand what I mean. I am not talking about fighting governments. I am not talking about chaos. I am not talking about anarchy. I am talking about accountable systems, transparent systems, participatory systems, systems where the public can understand, decide, fund, track, and audit. We do not need less order. We need better order. We do not need blind rebellion. We need intelligent rebuilding. We do not need to destroy society. We need to upgrade its operating system. The old system was built for control. The new system must be built for coordination. The old system hid records. The new system must make public records visible. The old system gave voice without power. The new system must connect voice to execution. The old system made education memorization. The new system must make education simulation. The old system made AI a private weapon. The new system must make AI a public assistant. The old system made citizens spectators. The new system must make citizens builders. And this is where the crew comes in. In One Piece, Luffy does not challenge the world government alone. He needs a crew. Every mission needs a crew. I need coders, designers, AI learners, blockchain developers, researchers, filmmakers, educators, community organizers, calisthenics creators, anime storytellers, legal minds, economists, investors, and most importantly, believers. People who understand that something is wrong, but are tired of only complaining. People who want to build, people who want to learn, people who want to create, people who want to make AI useful for ordinary people, people who want blockchain to become public trust, not just trading, people who want gamers to become problem solvers, people who want mosques and community centers to become living hubs again, people who want local communities to regain power. If that is you, then you are not just an audience, you are the crew, and this video is the invitation. We have decoded the pattern, from tribes to agriculture, from grain to tax, From writing to records, from law to hierarchy, from empire to colonialism, from colonialism to education systems, from borders to permanent conflict, from UN veto power to global privilege, from IMF conditions to financial dependency, from media to algorithms, from big tech to AI control, from surveillance to data power, from broken justice to inaccessible law, from healthcare as business to public health as trust, from economy as dependency to economy as builders. And now we have the alternative roadmap: AI as public assistant, blockchain as public memory, community centers as physical hubs, direct voting, live fund tracking, transparent budgets, skill-based local economies, open source personal AI like Jarvis, gaming education, local to global decentralized governance. This is not finished. This is being built. That is why I am building it in public. The wins, the failures, the code, the research, the ideas, the prototypes, the community, the mission, everything. So if this message hit you, comment crew. If you want to build with us, comment build. If you want to learn the AI workflows and Jarvis, comment Jarvis. And follow the journey. Because the future will not be built by people who only watched. It will be built by people who understood the system and then decided to build the alternative. This is our real life One Piece journey, not waiting for a hero. Building the crew. Let's build.